Hello beautiful glam girls, welcome back to another video. So this is going to be a coffee table chat, coffee table talk. You guys used to really love them and I kind of just fell off, but lately I've been trying to get back into it and you guys really loved my hygiene video, so I wanted to bring you more talking videos and more Q&As and things like that, and I have all these great ideas. So this video is really exciting. This one is going to be all about the questions that you guys asked me regarding New York City. If you don't know, I live here. I was born here. I'm from the Bronx. Woo! So yeah, I'm from where J-Lo's from, Cardi B, those people. I'm sure you guys know them. But I'm also from here, as a lot of people are, and so yeah, I thought it'd be fun to give you guys insight into what it's like living here and what it's like being from here, because there's so many videos out there from people who moved here or have lived here for a while, and they have just some skewed views, I think, about NYC living. And then there's people who you know, watch shows that are based in New York City and things like that, and they have this like different view of what New York is like. And so I wanted to give you guys my view and, you know, bring you in and tell you the reality of the situation, you know what I'm saying? So I asked you guys to ask me your burning New York City questions and I'm gonna be answering them, so let's get into it. First question: are the people actually that mean or rude or outspoken compared to LA? So I think this is a question that so many people have. Are the people in New York that rude? Are you that mean? And I guess yes and no, but overall I would say no. I think there's definitely more friendliness than you would expect. Now, if you're gonna say compared to LA, I don't live in LA. I've never lived in LA. I've only been there once, so I wouldn't want to make an assumption. I guess if I had to say, I think the difference is that the people in LA are friendlier, but most of them are fake. And then you have New Yorkers who are real, but they come off rude. And that's the difference, I think. If you live in LA, no offense, I'm not saying everybody is fake, but I think that there's definitely a stereotype of LA people kind of always chasing clout or looking for people to like give them a come up and things like that, because it's the place people go to for a come up, so you're gonna get more of that. And I don't think that's necessarily indicative of LA as a place and how it breeds people. I think that's more of what it's become. But anyway, my point is just that I definitely think that New Yorkers are friendly. Most of the time, if you are traveling here, you could speak to almost anybody as long as they don't look scary, you know, be careful. But I think overall you could come up to anybody if you need help, if you need directions or anything like that. And for the most part, people are going to be really friendly, willing to help. Even if they don't have the time, they might say, sorry, I can't, or whatever. But you're not really going to encounter someone who's going to like push you and be like, fuck you, girl, like I'm not gonna help you. Like, it's really not like that. Most people are truly friendly, and I think that's a surprising thing. Every time I run into a tourist, that's the first thing they'll say when they strike a conversation with me. They'll always say like, I'm not from here and New Yorkers are so much nicer than I thought you were gonna be. And I'm like, yes, we are. What are your top 3 must-do things in NYC? I'm coming from the UK. I think this depends again on what you want to do and what you want to see, but I think for anyone the first time coming here, you have to see the Statue of Liberty. I would say take the Staten Island ferry to see the skyline, the Statue of Liberty. It is amazing and it's free. Go to Times Square, of course. And my third thing, I guess, would be Central Park, because I couldn't tell you, I guess, okay, if I had to pick top, it would be like, if you can afford to see a Broadway show, see a Broadway show. But if you can't, Central Park. So definitely see a Broadway show, see the Statue of Liberty, and see Times Square. Those are like the top 3 things I would say are just like so New York. And then in between there, I would say try to go to some of the most famous restaurants. Try to go to Central Park, and then you can go from there. Is it really as exciting in Christmas as it looks? Yes, definitely it is super exciting. I have gone gone to Rockefeller to see the tree and all that kind of stuff for so many years, and every year I still go. It is something that I just love to do. It gets me in the spirit. It is wonderful. And in December, it's not normally as cold as you would think, so it is a great thing to do that's outdoors. It gets you in the spirit for Christmas, and it is amazing. My only tip would be not to buy any food in that area. You're going to be paying 10 times more than you need to pay. Do not buy any street cart food in that area. Don't bring your own water, bring your own food if you're going to be out there for a long time, or, you know, go to a McDonald's. Even then, so people may not know this, but depending on your area, the fast food is also marked up. So they might not have a dollar menu. For example, Times Square doesn't have dollar menus at McDonald's because, again, they're marking up for the tourists. So you might not even want to eat fast food. Definitely pack your own food. Do not buy the food that's there, not because it's bad, but because it's severely overpriced, and it really breaks my heart to see people paying that much. Do you live in a studio in NYC? Do you like it? I like to move to a studio. So I have what is technically a studio, but it's a really big studio, and it's more like a one bedroom if you're gonna be technical. So my apartment would technically more be like a one bedroom. It is a lot bigger than a typical New York apartment. I think what people don't know is that because there's Manhattan, which is like the city, and that's where everyone sees when they see New York. That's what they see. But there's the other parts of New York City, the other boroughs, and in the other boroughs that are a little bit farther from the hub of Manhattan, you can find way bigger apartments for way cheaper. So my apartment is a lot bigger than you would get in Manhattan, and also a lot cheaper. But also I live like an hour away from what someone would deem the place you want to be. You know what I'm saying? So I love it here. It's huge. It's quiet. My rent is a lot cheaper, but I still have access to all those places in New York. If I wanted to take the train, I'm, you know, half an hour to an hour or an hour and a half away from the hubs of, you know, different places. So if I wanted to go to Bryant Park, I'm like 30 minutes away. If I wanted to go all the way downtown, like I could be like an hour away. But I prefer it that way. I think it's ridiculous what people pay to be, you know, downtown. It is just not worth it. How do you survive the sweltering heat in the summer and still look cute? I don't really wear a lot of makeup in the summer, to be honest. I try to keep it very minimal just because it's so hot, and I just find it to be a waste of time. I like to feel and look as natural as possible. But deodorant, and I just use like a matte foundation. I don't have oily skin, and yeah, I try to just keep my physical activity to a minimum. When I'm out walking, I walk slow, and that's really it. Like, I just try to stay calm, cool, you know. That's really places to visit besides the Statue of Liberty, Central Park, and Times Square, and St. Patrick's Cathedral. So, like I said before, places to visit, I would have to say you want to hit up like Fifth Avenue, see all the stores. You want to go to Soho. The Chelsea Market is a place that's on my list. If I had to say like places that people are like don't know of that much, Chelsea Market is great. So many types of food, so cool. Definitely visit the MoMA or the Met. Those are like the best museums. The Guggenheim is cool. The architect in the Guggenheim is really cool as well. So the museums are really amazing. It's hard to say because I don't know if you mean like, you know, places that are historical or fun or stuff like that, but I would say look up what appeals to you. If you're coming to New York for the food, then you would want to research the best food. If you're coming to New York for the Broadway shows, then go see the shows. You know what I mean? Because there's so much to do here. My favorite place in the city is the Plaza Hotel. I don't know why. I love it so much. I think it's so glamorous, and I think it is so it appeals and it accepts everyone in a sense. It is such a glamorous place that might be intimidating to some people, but anyone can go there. You don't have to stay there to appreciate it. I've never had a room at the Plaza because it's really expensive. It's crazy. And I only spend that much if I'm going like to Paris. I'm not going to spend that much to stay in my own city. It's not happening. Not for a while at least. But I love the Plaza. because there's not just the rooms, there's also the shops at the plaza, and there's like a whole downstairs of restaurants and shops and little places to eat and sit. It's very Parisian, it's very European, little tables for everyone to sit. You can get cappuccino and tiramisu and cheesecake and different pastries and lobster rolls and, you know, just all these different kinds of food. I love the plaza so much, and it's so beautiful. Will I be able to find an affordable apartment? Again, I think it depends on where you want to live. If you're willing to live a little bit farther outside of like the hub of, you know, the city, then yes, you very well may be able to find something affordable if you're willing to live in the outer boroughs. But if you are dead set on living like Union Square, 14th Street, or Soho, or Chelsea, or the Lower East Side, or Upper West Side, whatever, you know, area you want to live in, then you're looking at $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 apartments. Can we talk about the bomb food spots you've tried, hidden gems, popular spots worth the hype? So for me, as far as bomb food, if I have to be honest with you, I don't feel like I've ever like travel to the sense, like I don't have any spots in mind that I could say like this is my favorite. Like there's a lot of restaurants I love, like I love Tao, I love Dallas BBQ, to be honest. Like that's one of my favorite places. I love Harlem barbecue. That's one of my hidden gems. Harlem barbecue. It's not Dallas barbecue. This is Harlem barbecue. It is real shit, and it is so bomb. And then there's just random places, but if I have to be honest, the bomb spots are the Latino spots, okay? If you find yourself a little hole in the wall with Jose and Maria cooking you up some arroz con andule, that's where you need to go, okay? Don't let nobody tell you different. My people make the best food. Are the men better or worse than a small town if you're looking for a significant other? So I obviously I wouldn't want to like make any generalizations, but if I have to say, my husband is from Michigan. He's not from here. He's lived here 10 years, so I guess in my personal experience, yes, the men are worse here than in a small town. You know, you're bred differently if you live in a big city, especially a city like New York. There's a different vibe, a different swag, a different way of being different way of being. And so yeah, definitely the men are going to be different. Will I say that they're better or worse than a small town? I don't really want to put a generalization out there like that, but you're gonna get a different vibe. And I think if you're like a small town girl, then it might be harder to navigate a big city guy. Just like I think the other way around is true too. Like a small town guy is gonna be intimidated by a big city girl. I just think that, of course, there's probably so much research on this and like the differences between us, but there are some significant differences. And I think dating as well, there are some differences because, for example, you know, in a big city, you might never have ever cross paths with that person, and you might have never have to like hear about your ex again, whereas in a small city maybe your exes know each other, maybe they even dated, or you know what I'm saying, like it's a little bit harder. But you'd be surprised how small New York can be. I've met a lot of people who dated or know someone who dated one of my exes, so some people manage to get around in this big city. This person says, how have I never run into you? Because sis, I stay home, okay? The streets are scary. I stay home. I ain't got time to be hurt. I ain't got time to play these games. I don't want to get scooped up. Like, I stay home. That's why. Okay guys, so it's getting darker out, and so I raised the light, so I hope that helps. Let me know if this lighting is good. Are there thrift stores in NYC? Yes, of course there are. The thing with thrift stores in New York is that they call themselves antique shops or antique stores. That's creepy. My garbage can lid was open and it just closed right now on its own. So yeah, a lot of times the thrift stores in NYC like masquerade themselves and say like antique shop, and then they charge you an arm and a leg for like some old crap. So you got to be aware of thrift stores in Manhattan, but of course there are places that you can get cheap stuff. I actually lived in a spot, but again, I live in the Bronx. I used to live in a spot. If you were an old school OG follower of mine, you would know back when I lived in this one place that there was a thrift store right near my house, and I would do like thrifting hauls. So just beware. But yes, there are thrift stores here. What's the best restaurant in NYC? That's hard to say. I think everybody, if you ask them, will tell you something different. And I think you would have to ask someone who maybe is like a food critic who's been to every restaurant, because when I tell you, there are so many restaurants in New York that it's almost impossible, or it's almost like hard to go to the same place twice. Now, me and my husband, we tend to go to the same places over and over again. We're just like that. If I like something, I like to go there again. So like, been to town multiple times, been to this place multiple times, or like Max Brenner or whatever the place is. That's one of my favorites as well. It's a chocolate themed restaurant. I love it there. I think everyone's gonna give you a different, you know, answer, because it depends on what kind of food you like. I don't even know if I have a favorite. If I had to give a favorite, damn, but there's so many places I've been to. I would have to look at a list of all the restaurants I've been to remember like why it was my favorite. There's so many dope places that I don't know if I could tell you that I have a favorite. So yeah, there's too many restaurants. That's one thing about New York. We have the best food. How do people afford to eat here? I heard stuff is hard to get cheap there. So I think this is a big question or misconception, that people think that, you know, like everyone is spending so much money on food. We do have cheaper food. We do have spots where food is cheaper. We have cheaper restaurants. We have fast food. We have other supermarkets that are cheaper, like Key Food, Seatown, ShopRite. We have those places. Well, ShopRite is more around me because I live farther. But we have cheaper restaurants and cheaper supermarkets. Not everyone has to shop at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. And you do have cheaper restaurants where the meals are 15 to 20 bucks and not everything is $50 to $70 a plate. So that's definitely a misconception. We do have every type of food, every budget. What's your number one place you would tell someone to go if they've never been to NYC before? So again, if I had to say my number one place, I would say the Staten Island Ferry. And I know this sounds crazy because there's so many glamorous things in the city, but I think if you've never been to New York before, I think the number one place that you have to see, maybe as much as Times Square or maybe even more than Times Square, is to take the Staten Island Ferry and see the skyline and the Statue of Liberty, and it's free. And I think a lot of people get scammed into taking these like little cruises that are supposed to show you the skyline and supposed to show you, you know, the Statue of Liberty, but in reality the Staten Island Ferry is free and you get to see all that stuff, that same stuff. And you can take it at night. The last ferry is at like midnight, so you can see it at night for free as well. And I would say that's my number one thing, because I think if you've never been to the city, yeah, you want to see everything, but you want to feel New York. You want to see the buildings and that beautiful skyline. You want to see that magical moment of New York. And a lot of cities, you don't get that. You know, you go to the city and you experience it, but there's not this one thing that gives you that city, whereas New York has its infamous skyline and the Statue of Liberty. Those are those iconic visual things that you can see that just encompass New York altogether. It's kind of like going to Paris and seeing the Eiffel Tower. For us, it's like the skyline, and I feel like that would be so magical if I had never seen it before. I feel like that's the number one thing you need to see. Best hotel to stay at. Okay, so this is hard because, again, hotels in New York are like the restaurants. We have too many. Most of them are shit. A lot of them are amazing. It's too many to ever stay or eat at all of them, basically. And there's so many price ranges. So it really depends on where you're planning to stay and what you're looking for. You have the hotels that are very, very bougie, very fancy, beautiful, $500, $1,000 a night places like the Palace, the Plaza, the W, the Mandarin, things like that. And then you have, you know, the cheaper spots that are a little bit more funky, a little bit more cool, a little bit more chill in Soho or wherever it is that you're trying to stay. And there's so many neighborhoods. So do your research on the neighborhood you want to stay and then go from there. And also don't go anywhere that's under 3 stars, because then you're going to get rats and roaches. Got it? How expensive is rent? I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and my 3-bedroom apartment is $3,600. Girl, stay there. Stay there. You're not getting no 3-bedroom in New York City for $3,600. That doesn't exist. A 3-bedroom in New York would be like $10,000, and I'm not even joking. Like, I'm literally not joking. I'm being for real. Because like even a studio is like $3,600 if you're in Manhattan, and then a 1-bedroom to, you know, like literally a 3-bedroom could cost you $10,000 or even more. I don't know, anyone out there? I don't even know if they make 3 bedrooms in this city, to be honest. You would have to live somewhere like I live, like in the outer boroughs, to live in a building that's 3 bedrooms, and that would probably cost you like $2,500 if you're in a cheaper neighborhood. So, you know, for 3 bedrooms, $3,600, stay where you are, girl. Is it really as dangerous as people make it out to be? It's actually not anymore. We're at the lowest crime we've been in, I think, since the 60s. So we are very low in crime right now, and yeah, it feels, I mean, I don't go out at night because I'm just not that person. Like, I'm not putting my life in danger for no reason. Nothing is important. Nothing is as important as me being safe. Like, no party, no dinner, no restaurant. Like, I just don't care to be in danger. So I stay home a lot. But when I was a teenager, I used to fucking go out and party and stay out all night and come home whenever I wanted. And me and my girlfriends would go out all night. And there was a lot of times I was out by myself at 2 or 3 in the morning. And I wouldn't recommend doing it. But, you know, it was pretty safe. And like I said, I wouldn't ever in any place, no matter how safe you tell me it is, be out by myself at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. But in general, it's not like you're gonna be walking down the street with your friend and really anything's gonna happen to you. You might get catcalled, but it is pretty safe right now. The rent, heard it's expensive. Is it? Can you do a college life or moving there tips? Okay, so for college, this is different as well, because a lot of times people who live in New York City, who don't go away for college, we just live at home because we could just take the train to school, which is what I did. So I went to a city school, and I just took the train to school, and I lived at home. So I didn't have the college experience. I didn't have a dorm and all that, because I was just like, first of all, I didn't want to be far from my family. I had a young brother. He was born when I was 16, so he was still a baby when I was going to college, and I really love my brother. If you know anything about me, if you guys follow me, you guys know that my brother is like my son, because he was born when I was 16. So yeah, my brother was like my son. He was so young, and I just didn't want to leave and then come back and he didn't know who I was. So, and plus I'm not a party person. I've never really been a party person. So I was like, you know what? Let me stay home for college. So I stayed home, and yeah, I mean, it was really easy for me, because like I said, I was able to just take the train to school. So I don't know if I'd be able to give you guys like tips about moving here for college and being in a dorm, but I could give you tips about my college experience in the city, living at home in the city. And as far as like moving tips, I would say to do your research. Definitely, this is not the kind of place that you just want to up and peel the band-aid off and move to. It's definitely a place that you need to get used to, and just make sure that you want to live here before you move. So if you can come out here for a few times and just stay a little bit to get to know the place and get to know the area you want to live in a little bit better, then that's definitely where the option you want to go with, if you can. You know, for example, like my husband came here like 2 or 3 times before he moved here, just to get familiar, because this is a rough place. You know, New York is a big culture shock for most people, because it's its own little country compared to the rest of the US. So it definitely can be a culture shock. Girl, I'm traveling to NYC. Where do I need to visit, and good restaurants too? So again, this is the kind of thing that everyone's gonna have a different opinion of what a good restaurant is. But again, places to visit, you know, Soho for shopping, Fifth Avenue for shopping, Flatiron Building, Soho, Bryant Park. Depending on the time of year, there's like Christmas markets. There's the Christmas market in Union Square, Columbus Circle, 6th Avenue, probably even more. Bryant Park has roller skating and like a winter lodge. There's ice skating in Central Park. There's Coney Island. If you come in the summer, free movies in Coney Island. In the summer, there's free movies at Bryant Park. There's just so many things going on depending on when you come. So definitely do your research, and then according to that time of year that you decide to visit, plan accordingly. And there's just so many fun things to do, and even free things to do if you're into that kind of thing. Just know that in New York, everything is always packed. packed, so you either have to plan in advance, get your tickets or whatever in advance, or just be ready to wait on a really long line, or be ready that you might not get into a place just because the amount of people, like even me, I live here and there's a lot of things I never get to go to because they're just so saturated with people. It's ridiculous. And last but not least, don't be asking people no crazy questions from New York. Don't be asking me if I ever got shot before. People be crazy. I remember one time someone was like, "You're from the Bronx? Have you ever been shot?" I'm just like, sis, you being silly. This ain't a music video. Stop it. There are people who might be getting shot, but I think that living here is what you make of it. If you want to be a gangbanger, you could find them. They're there. You could find them. But if you want to be a regular person, you can be a regular person. I think everybody has this idea that there's like the holistic yoga doing, tofu eating, LA-like people who live in Brooklyn. And then there's like the mobsters who, you know, are gangbanging and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is most of us are me. We're the in-between, the normal people. We are always left out of the equation because we're the normal, middle-class, regular folk working hard, taking the subway. You know what I mean? Like, we're the normal people living everyday life, doing, you know, our thing. And we're not sensationalized in the media, you know? No one's really living that Carrie Bradshaw life. So, you know, you might see that and think that's amazing, I want that, but that's not reality. And you might see some crazy version of like a gangbanger who's from New York, and that's also not really reality too. You know, they exist, but not to the extent that I think people want to portray or want to think they exist. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any more burning questions or any more ideas New York related. I want to do more of these videos where I sit down and talk about my experiences, my ideas about New York, and leave your burning New York questions in the description box if you have anything else you want to know. Sorry, I'm looking out the window because it's nighttime and there's people looking out the window too. So let me know what you guys want me to talk about New York related. I want to give you way more videos. Let me actually close this because I don't need the light anymore, so I have the window open. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like, and I'll see you in my next one. Don't forget to stay glam. Bye.